Hi, welcome back. In this video, you'll learn how to create a program which creates this PDF table out of the SQL database. So that's the output we will generate. So I'm going to delete that and create a program that generates that PDF file again. Database.db is the database we'll be working on. I gave you this in the first video of this section. So we establish a connection to the database and we create a cursor object in here, and then we'll be using the fpdf library. From fpdf import fpdf pdf. We did cover this library previously in the course in the section about working with PDF files. So you learned there how to generate PDF files via Python. So we're going to make use of that knowledge in this video. FPDF basically has this cellular structure in the PDF. So you add cells, you add text in those cells to create the PDF. So I'm not going to go through details. Basically what we want to do is we want to iterate over the rows of our database table and create a cell for each element in the row. So for that we need two pieces of information. We need the list of columns and then we need the rows for each record, the values of each row. To get the names of the columns, you want to execute an SQL query. So point to the cur object and execute pragma table info. And in parentheses, you place the name of the table. So we're getting info from that table. And then if you create a variable columns, that is equal to cur and fetch what cursor has at the moment and then print out columns and you run. And that's the output. It's a list of tuples and each tuple is representing a column. So that's the index of the column. So we have 0, 1, 2, so 3 columns, and the address column has this index of 0. It's of text type, so the data are texts, not integers, as is the case of ASN. So ASN has integer data types. And we have some other column attributes here. We are not interested on those. We only want to extract that. And this is how we extract that name of the column. We iterate for column in columns, and if you print column index 1, so that has an index of 0, in that tuple, in that first tuple, that has an index of 1, index 2, and so on. So we want the item with index 1. Run that, and we get the column names only, address, domain, ASN. But instead of printing them out, we want to insert those columns in the PDF. But first we want to create a PDF object using fpdf. Orientation of the PDF is P for portrait. The units are PT for points. That's a common unit used in font sizes, and the format perhaps A4. And let's add the first page using the add page method, add page. And then as you iterate over the columns, you want to say pdf.set font. So set the font of the first cell, of the first text you want to add to the PDF. Family is perhaps Times, and style maybe for the column names you want a bold and a size of 14 should do it. Then the next row on under this for block is pdf.cell with a width of 100, height of 25, so these are in point units, and the text of this cell is column 1, and we want a border of 1 as well. So we want the cell to have a border around, otherwise it will look like text, it will not look like a table. Once you're done with that, exit the loop and say pdf.output. That is a method that will generate the PDF file, the actual PDF file. Let's say output.pdf as the path of the file. Run and output.pdf will be created. So far so good. Perhaps 30 for the size, for the height of the cell. So now we have more space. Then we need to keep adding rows, now the actual records of the table. To do that, we need to create another for loop, which this time iterates for row in rows. But what is rows? Well, rows should be a list of tuples, which we will get from cur execute. And we will run the SQL query, which is the usual select all from IPs. Yep, that's it. And the rows will be cur.fetch all. And then you iterate over the rows. Perhaps we want the same font, right? So I'm going to paste that in there, indent. And maybe not bold, so I'll remove the style to keep it normal. And then pdf.cell again. Yeah, the same parameters should do it. H equal to 30. txt this time is going to be, well, the rows have multiple values. So one row has the value for the address, the value for the domain, and the value for the ASN. So therefore, what we want to do is we want to have another for loop here, which iterates. So for elements in a row, in each row it iterates over the values of each row. So then we indent that under here. In that case, txt will be the element variable. So we add element after element. Border is equal to 1. Let's run this. We need to do a few fixes there, but let's take things step by step as usual. So the first error we get is attribute error, int object has no attributes replace. In line 24 in here. So I think that this text parameter, this expects a string as input, but in the data we have ASN, which is an integer. So you want to convert everything into a string. So apply the str method and you should be good to go. Yep, let's see the data. Not exactly what we were looking for. So we should break the line in here. How do we break the line? Well, by using, so after the columns, after you iterate over the columns, exit the loop and apply pdf.ln. Run again. Yep, looks better. So the first row is under the row of the columns, but then the second row is not. So we want to break the line also after the first row is written. So we iterate for row in rows and then just here. So one indentation level below the first loop, we say pdf.ln, run again. And that's the final output. So that's a PDF table, and that's the complete code. Thank you for following, and I'll talk to you in the next videos.